Hey, welcome. Terrell Baldock talking at you here. How is it going? It's pretty soggy here, but you know what? Spring is on the way, so I am not too upset about it. It's the cycle, right? Anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is how to build muscle while managing your pelvic organ prolapse. This has kind of come through my inbox a lot lately, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll just make a short little vid to share, short little video. I'm trying to be cool, but I'm not. Yeah, I am. I like to think I am. Mindset, right? It's all about the mindset. So I'm going to cover the basics in this video. Not going to get too sciencey on you. Pretty straightforward stuff. If you have any questions or you need specific answers, please drop them in the comments below and I will be back to answer them as soon as I can. All right, so the basics. Okay, first we need to figure out why the symptoms are happening. So if you're lifting something kind of heavy or not so heavy and you're experiencing symptoms, we need to uncover why those symptoms are happening. Now, it may not be a pelvic floor problem specifically. It could be a pressure management thing. So it may be that we need to teach you, or I need to teach you, or whoever you're working with needs to teach you how to manage the intra-abdominal pressure or that air in your belly so that that air is not getting pushed down onto the pelvic floor, that it's evenly distributed throughout your upper body, right? So that's the first step. Now, if you want to get deep or get really deep, if you get assessed by a pelvic floor physiotherapist, if it's possible, they can get an internal look at how your pelvic floor is functioning and what's happening with that prolapse with weight. So yes, they can, some do. I've had it done, super fun. But yes, they can assess you while you're lifting some weight. So my pelvic floor physiotherapist, Ibby from the Mama's Physio, had me pressing barbells overhead. She had me squatting. It was a good time, wasn't it, Ed? All right, so there's that. Now we want to build a solid foundation. Okay, so we're not gonna hop. I mean, you'll probably gain a little bit of muscle, but we're not gonna get into the hard stuff right away because we wanna have that foundation first, right? So what we need to do is, now that we know how to manage those symptoms, now we have to apply that with exercise or with movement or with lifting. Okay, so what we need to do is look at your overall strategy with that. If there's symptoms happening with certain lifts, then we need to figure out what's happening there, intra-abdominal pressure, pelvic floor, prolapse, and work our way up, right? So coordinating all of that pelvic floor stuff with exercise. Once we've built that foundation, then we move into more resistance training, okay? So we may have a little when we're building that foundation, but now we're getting a little bit more into it. Now, this is where things can get a little bit tricky for some women. So in my experience in working with my clients, I find early on that 8 to 12 rep range works really well when we're moving from a foundational phase into a more strength training or building phase. This gives you the opportunity to learn how to coordinate all of that pelvic floor stuff and all of that foundational stuff into lifting something a bit heavier. This gives the brain a chance to adapt. It gives the pelvic floor a chance to adapt with more weight, but it's also not so intensive that you're going to overexert yourself or work quite to fatigue. okay? Now this can happen in a matter of weeks, minutes, days, you know, depending on where you're starting from and how you're progressing. We can maybe get through this quite quickly. But you build that foundation, we get into a more advanced or more learning is happening, we're progressing a little bit, and then we would move on to something more like the 4 to 6 rep range. So it's a bit heavier, and this is where the magic is going to happen. This is the meat and potatoes of building muscle, right? Because we need to challenge those muscles. We need to work them to fatigue, essentially, take our minute rest or 2-3 minute rests, and then go to work again. Simply because we need to make sure that your prolapse symptoms are well managed, going from a moderate weightlifting to more challenging or heavy kind of weightlifting. So in going to that 4 to 6 rep range, or even 8 to 12 or any rep range that you work with, what I suggest is we work with the higher reps first. So we want to work with a weight that can get us to 12 reps or get us to 6 reps. If you understand what I'm saying. If you don't, pop the questions below, because I know I'm speaking a little fast here thanks to the coffee. All right. And I also find what works really well, if you're within that 4 to 6 rep range, split training. Now what I mean by this, it's kind of it might be a little different or look a little different than traditional muscle building, simply because in my experience and in my personal experience, I find set leg day, you know, like leg day that you see the memes and they're falling all over the place because their legs are like jelly. That may make those symptoms not feel so good. So that can bring on symptoms just because the lower body is so overloaded that symptoms are just not feeling good, right? So doing something like, you know, an upper and lower body split, so maybe, you know, a leg day combined with an upper body day, or maybe core, something like that, because there isn't as much work being done on leg day. Even full body workouts can work really well here, although the goal is building muscle. They say split sets or split days work best for this because you can get more isolation. But as I said, if lower body isolation brings on too many symptoms or it's too uncomfortable, then splitting upper and lower body works really well. Okay, so resistance training, again, 3 to 5 days a week, maybe more, maybe less, depending on the symptoms, but we really want to make sure that our symptoms are well managed, right? So you might find that splitting your workouts up over a 5-day period works better for you, or you might find doing it in 3 days works well too. Whichever works for you, go with that. You might need to play a little bit. Nutrition. Okay, so this is where we're going to start seeing those parallels with pelvic floor management with muscle building. Because when you want your pelvic floor working really well, you notice if you're not eating so awesomely, you're more symptomatic. Simply because you're backed up a little bit more, things aren't flowing through very well, and yeah. Well, the same thing with muscle building. If you want to build muscle, you need to eat reasonably well. I'm not expecting perfection here, but we want to make sure things are moving in. You're getting good quality nutrition, so we're talking protein, fruits and veggies, complex carbs and those healthy fats that you always hear about. You want to get a good balance of those. So protein every single meal, so 0.8 grams to 1 gram per pound of body fat every single day. Lots of water, hydration is really important. A fruit or a veg every single meal. What works really well for me and my family is rather like a large salad at lunchtime, or like a big stir fry, so you can just eat your vegetables kind of like all in 1 or 2 meals, so you're not worried about getting it throughout the course of the day. Fruit with snacks, making sure that you're getting protein with snacks as well. Now, I'm a 3 times a day eater, and then I eat a snack before bed. So I make sure I have protein from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're a 5 meal a day kind of person, then you've got your 3 meals and your 2 snacks, proteins with those 2 snacks. Okay. Sleep and stress management. Now, I talk about these together all the time, simply because if you don't sleep, your body is going to be stressed. You're not able to cope with stress as well. So I do lump these in together. So with sleep, we want to make sure that you're getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night. I know that's not always possible with you parents out there, but do your best. I know I can't always get 7 to 9 hours, and I'm perimenopausal, so I wake up a lot through the night, but do your best. And what also is really helpful for that piece is the stress management, because when you're stressed, the quality of sleep that you get is not as good. So, things like self-care, taking a long hot bubble bath, if that's what you like, going for a walk. I suggest all my clients, go for a 10-minute walk a day. When that happens, it doesn't matter if they're walking to the school bus, to take their kids to school, whatever. Just get outside for at least 10 minutes. Go for a walk. The fresh air does wonders. If meditation is your thing, taking 10 minutes to meditate and just zone out in quiet, stress-free, in a stress-free environment, if possible. Again, I know that's not always great or not always ideal, if you have children running around. But seriously, if you can take care of the stress management, the sleep generally happens on its own. It falls into place. Other things to help with your quality of sleep is turn all devices off at least an hour before bed. I'm gonna laugh at that one because I am not good with that one. I don't watch TV through the day, so I watch a little bit before I go to bed. But you can wear the blue light glasses that are supposed to be really helpful for that. And what else? So sleep, devices, turning the lights down low gives the body a good cue that it's time to start releasing melatonin so that you can calmly relax and drift off to sleep. So as you can see, even just those few things help with your pelvic organ prolapse symptoms if you're symptomatic. Nutrition, exercise, as well as sleep and stress management. So really, you don't have to do anything different other than if you're trying to build muscle, just make sure that you're in that caloric surplus, eating 5 to 10% more of your caloric intake a day to build that muscle, right? Lots of parallels, like I said. So there you go, some tips on how to build muscle and manage your pelvic organ prolapse. If you have any questions, drop them below in the comment section or reach out to me via DM. I look forward to hearing from you.